And today, we finna react to Mexico just open up a new extreme prison for cartel members. Nah, if you see a different background, we on TikTok with this, doing the reactions live on TikTok. You ever want to pull up, TikTok in the description below. But for me personally, I love the cartel. I'm telling you, I'm a civilian. I love all y'all. I'm not gonna hold it. And it's crazy they got a prison to contain y'all. So I'm just saying, I'm on y'all side. So y'all ain't gotta pull up on me, you know what I'm saying, with armored truck going crazy. So, hey, but let's see how dangerous this prison really is for the cartel members.
The main boss was decapitated, and they were playing basketball and
Off bat, they going crazy like that. I know the cartel get wicked out there for sure. I know they get wicked, but like that, dribbling his head off the ground. Like, I got a home with it love saying that I'll dribble your head literally off the ground. Like, hey man, cartel. I'm telling you, that's one set of niggas I will never beef with a day in my life. The cartel, they got it. They go too far.
this head.
Mexico just opened a new prison, and details about what is happening in there are extreme. From decapitations to taking the number 2 with no tissue paper right next to where you sleep. In this video, I have some of the most brutal details from this prison. Let us begin. Inside Mexico's most extreme prison, where hope goes to die.
Where hope goes to die is crazy.
That's too generous.
Like, look how you gotta live, gang. The cartel life, I'm not saying that. The cartel life, I don't mean like that. It's not really that worth it, because, gang, look how you gotta live. This is not living condition. The title of the slogan is to go where hope dies. You are forgotten in this area. Like, you're jam-packed like sardines, gang. Oh, y'all can barely hear it? Hold up. Let me turn it up for y'all. Let me know if it get too loud.
In Mexico, just miles from the US border, lies a prison so extreme, so psychologically destructive, that even convicted cartel assassins, men who've hacked enemies to pieces with chainsaws, have begged not to be
hacking enemies. Bro, that's what I'm saying. The cartel is out of pocket, gang. Like, you not Leatherface. Why do they go so hard? Like, I'd rather beef with the Bloods, the Crips, anything with Mafia and cartel. I just don't want no part in it. I love my life too much. At least with the YNs, I got a chance of them missing with the switch. The cartel's gonna have me chained up, hanging down, upside down over a bag of acid. Talking about talk. Yeah, sir. Talk. And then beat me like I'm a pinata. Tase me, hit me with nail guns, beat me again, dip half my head in it. They do too much.
Sent there. A place where the walls do more than hold criminals. They erase them. Welcome to La Mesa, not a prison, a punishment.
Total anarchy.
Get active, get active.
Prepare for me. Behind bars is a...
This ain't no way to live, bro. This is not no way to live. This is terrifying.
Struggle just to survive. And only the strongest survive.
And now Mexico just took it a step further. A brand new ultra-isolation wing, exclusively for the most dangerous cartel bosses. Men who once ruled cities, now locked in rooms no larger than a walk-in closet. No visitors, no phone calls, no light, no escape. But here's the disturbing part. La Mesa didn't always look like this. In fact, it used to be called El Pueblito, or the Little Town. Why? Because inmates ran the show. We're talking shops, restaurants, even brothels inside the prison. Cartels weren't just thriving.
How do you run a brothel inside of a prison? Cause ain't it full of niggas? Am I tripping? Well, I know they get wicked like that in prison for sure, but man, I ain't trying to let that be me.
They were recruiting, killing, and conducting business right from their bunk beds. What changed? One man. Since 2014, director Cesar Daniel Ramirez Acevedo has ruled La Mesa with a level of control that would make North...
Shout out to that boy Daniel. Shout out to that boy Daniel. I ain't gonna round of applause for Daniel. But I do got one thing I want to say about Daniel. That brother there got some big ears. Jesus Christ. That nigga got some big ass ears, bro.
Cesar Daniel Ramirez Acevedo has ruled La Mesa with a level of control that would make North Korean wardens take notes, and under his watch, the Mexican government has quietly converted La Mesa into what is effectively a human filing cabinet. Stack them, isolate them, and erase the man before the sentence is even up. But why now? Why is Mexico doubling down with an even harsher supermax system for cartel inmates? Well, that's where this gets dark, because the answer might not.
I thought the cartel was like powerful though. Like, you know, I thought the cartel was like on some, they running damn near half of Mexico or almost all of Mexico. So like, how do they? No, the cartel thought they had they hands in every single thing, but I guess not really.
Just be about justice. It might be about revenge, or worse, control. But first, let's go back to where it all began. Tijuana, border city, Sin City, and one of the most dangerous places in the Western Hemisphere.
That traffic, oh my God.
Drug routes, illegal crossings, and cartel turf wars have turned this party hotspot into a powder keg of death and desperation. And when things go wrong, they end up at La Mesa.
Tijuana, Mexico. Just over the U.S. border. Weapons go to Mexico, drugs to the U.S. A battle that rages on with no end in sight.
At the center of this chaos sits the new ultra-restrictive...
Am I tripping? Because why they got so many Coca-Cola signs? What's going on with that? Like, is Coca-Cola sponsoring this? What's going on?
Wing of La Mesa, Section 6. The prisoners here aren't just dangerous, they're leaders, shot callers, men like Francisco, who once tortured rivals for sport. His new reality? A dark, airless concrete box with no soap, no toilet paper, and barely enough water to survive.
How did... Bro, no tissue? You can't even wipe, bro. I don't want to even wish that on a cartel. You can't even wipe after number 2. Come on, bro. Nah, bro. Come on, like, niggas walking around, cheeks crusted up, like, crusted up cheeks, nigga. Full of fecal matter everywhere. Oh, yeah, no. Hearing this, as a cartel member, if I was one of them, I wouldn't commit no crime. Y'all got it. Y'all gonna just off me on the spot.
Commander Flores continues his hunt for rioters in Section 6. Their risk potential, extremely high.
The air inside the isolation unit is described as suffocating. Mold spreads across the walls like
I bet. Bunch of hot, sweaty, big back kind of niggas. Musty. Doo-doo all types of crooks and crannies of niggas. Like, feet funky, smelling like Cheetos. Majority of them probably smell like Chinese food. I bet the air is toxic. Like,
cancer. Inmates are forbidden from even seeing the sun, some for months at a time. This isn't rehabilitation, it's something else entirely. It's a calculated system to break the inmate before the sentence ends. And if you think the guards are in control, think again. According to former hitmen who served time in prisons like these, the real power still lies with the cartel. Guards are often forced to look the other way, or else.
The ones that are in charge are the inmates and the cartel that runs the prison system. For every prison that there is a cartel behind it.
Let that sink in. This isn't just a war on crime, this is a war within the walls, and the strategy is brutal. Inmates from rival cartels are...
See, that's what I mean, though. I knew they had their hands in almost every kind of thing, so I kind of want to figure out how this is gonna make them scared, because every prison has a cartel backing it up, so it's like, come on now. So, but we gonna let, I forgot his name already. We're gonna see how he running it, because he talking a big game right now.
Forced to share space, just close enough to breed tension, but not close enough to resolve it. This results in an emotional and psychological standoff that rarely ends well. Cartel enemies, side by side, for years. No wonder La Mesa has had multiple full-scale riots. One insider describes a massacre where 14 inmates were slaughtered in a single night, and the main cartel boss beheaded. And yet, Mexico has decided this place needed to be even tougher. Why?
I ended up getting in maximum security. And the riot popped off right 2 weeks when I was in there. There was 14 people killed. The main boss was decapitated, and they were playing basketball with his head.
Some believe it's because cartel influence has outgrown the streets. They've corrupted.
Walking around in broad day with them big boys too, them ARs.
corrupted police, politicians, even judges. So now, the government is retaliating the only way it can, by stripping their power inside these walls. But here's where it backfires. Inmates like Taylor Elliott Howard, who aren't cartel members, are thrown into the same hell. He didn't traffic drugs, he was accused of stealing a car, and now he's sentenced to 9 years in what many describe.
So he's accused of stealing the car, and they just gonna give him 9 years. They ain't got no more evidence, no nothing. You know how terrified I'd be being stuck behind bars with a gang amount of cartel members, and then I'd really lose my absolute sanity talking about, oh yeah, and you don't get no toilet paper to wipe your ass. You might as well kill me. Just kill me. 9 years, 9 years of not wiping my ass, and 9 years stuck being in the with the cartel. Kill me.
As psychological torture.
The living conditions here is terrible. I'm a combat veteran. I'm a United States Marine. I've served in the Iraqi War. I'm decorated. Over there, I'm a hero. Over here, I'm a villain.
And the isolation is complete. American inmates say no one speaks English. There are no interpreters, no calls to family, no visits. They lock you up and throw away the key, Taylor says. He's not exaggerating.
Pretty much what they try to do here is they'll lock you up and throw away the key.
And if you're sick, good luck. Taylor claims that 9 inmates on his tier alone have died simply due to untreated illness. That's not hearsay. That's survival roulette. And this raises the question, is Mexico reforming its justice system, or is it hiding its failures behind thicker concrete? Later in this video, we'll explore the shocking transformation of La Mesa from a cartel-run village, complete with clubs and restaurants, to the lockdown fortress it is today. We'll show you footage from inside El Pueblito and introduce you to inmates like...
They ain't got no bugs. No, they got bugs. I know they sleeping with bugs. I just know they sleeping with bugs.
Dolores Sanchez, who lived in both versions of the prison and can't decide which was worse. Because what's more terrifying? A prison where inmates rule with guns and drugs, or one where the state rules with silence? The year was 2002, and what happened that year at La Mesa wasn't just a prison reform, it was a declaration of war. The Mexican government razed the old facility, bulldozed the makeshift shops, shut down the inmate-run nightclubs, and declared that from now on, the state, not the cartels, would be in charge. But power doesn't vanish, it mutates, and in this case, it adapted to survive inside La Mesa's new blueprint. Tightened surveillance, reduced yard time, inmate movement monitored down to the second. Commander Mario Antonio Mesa Flores, responsible for daily operations, knows this dance all too well. His day starts with searches for homemade weapons, drugs, even fans turned into heating coils.
If I'm working in this prison, I'm wearing a mask every day. You're not going to see my face. I'm sorry, I have too much at risk. I'm not finna, hey, come here. I come to the gate. Yeah, let us have all this. We have your family. We have your lineage. We have your old preschool teacher hanging off of a building. Give us everything we need. Like, this point, you can't win. You got to cover up something. You got to be anonymous, bro.
This involves patrolling the prison and raiding cells.
We're mainly looking for weapons and substances like drugs and tobacco.
But make no mistake, the violence didn't leave La Mesa, it simply moved deeper underground. One inmate, Francisco, admits openly, I used to have an amazing life. Money, family, women. But in here, you fight for water, you fight for air. He's not exaggerating. Inmates get access to showers and toilets for only a few hours each day. The rest of the time, it's just concrete and silence.
I used to have an amazing life with my family, my kids, my wife, a girlfriend, and I had plenty of money. Things were good. I didn't know what it was like to go hungry, as I could always afford to buy everything. Here in prison, you don't tend to get enough, and it's usually awful.
Then there's Dolores Sanchez. She's been inside since 1999,
I forgot that they do be having like cartel female members. I wonder if the women just as wicked as the dudes. I ain't gonna lie.
2 decades. Back then, she could walk freely, own a small business, even hire staff. Today, she's a prison nurse, delivering meds in Block 7. But the freedom she once had, the kind granted by cartel control, is gone. We used to be able to just open ourselves and go wherever we wanted. Now there are no drugs, no alcohol, and no corruption anymore. Sounds like progress, right? Except that the price of control is being paid in mental decay, medical neglect, and institutionalized hopelessness. Inmates are rarely allowed outside. When they are, it's a highly choreographed affair. Guards open one cell at a time. Inmates are marched, never together, always staggered. Rival gang members are never allowed to cross paths. This isn't just order, it's engineered paranoia.
The next group cannot be released until all of the inmates are in the stairway. This is how the guards keep the upper hand.
This elaborate ballet of control might reduce riots, but it comes at a cost. According to the guards, 2 hours of sun a week is a privilege. Most inmates spend 23
2 hours of sun is a privilege? Nigga, damn. 2 hours? It ain't worth it. It ain't.
to 24 hours per day in their cells every day for years. Even worse, the isolation is intentional. La Mesa's current structure ensures inmates interact with only a handful of other humans during their entire sentence. Think about that. You enter as a 22-year-old, you leave as a 35-year-old, and the only people you've spoken to are guards with batons and inmates who might slit your throat in the shower. The psychological damage is so severe, some inmates beg to be moved. Not released, just moved to another facility. Take Abraham Chavez Orozco, arrested at 22 for drug trafficking. He's now 3 years into a 5-year sentence. His crime, smuggling narcotics. His punishment, 3 years without privacy, basic hygiene, or medical care.
I've had a foot infection in the past. The food is bad and unhygienic. And it's freaking hot.
Alright, do y'all think like they deserve what they get, bruh? Like, is this all deserved? Like, should they at least get more, like, a little bit of human rights? I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comment section, really. I ain't speaking my piece. I already said I'm a civilian gang. So the cartel see this and see y'all in the comments. That's on y'all. So.
His mother has pleaded with the authorities to transfer him somewhere else, somewhere safer, somewhere less psychologically ruinous. But in La Mesa, even hope is on lockdown. Because make no mistake, La Mesa is not just a prison for cartel killers. It's also a prison for poor people, for foreigners, for the unlucky, and for some, like Taylor, it's a coffin with a TV. The ultimate consequence is what the inmates call the hole. This is the isolation block, dark, moldy, airless. Even the guards hesitate to enter. And if you think that's an exaggeration, think again. Inmates here don't just suffer in silence, they rot.
Inmates vegetate in isolation for days on end. The cells are dominated by sweat, stagnant air, and an ever-increasing amount of mold on the walls.
I just know it's so funky in there, bro. Like, this 80s level of funk. Like, you know what they were saying, Funky Town? I know it's really funky, musty, Cheeto, Frito, Chinese food cutting up in there bad.
No running water, no electricity, no human contact. Inmates don't know when they'll be allowed out. Sometimes it's weeks, other times, never. The worst part? You don't even need to be violent to get thrown in there. Forget to wash a dish, smuggle a cookie, or just talk back. That's enough. As the prison director once explained, I'm very proud. This prison used to be notorious. Now we have everything under control. Control. That's the real story here. Not reform, not rehabilitation, control. Because what happens when you reduce a man to just a number and a cage? The answer is simple. You don't reduce violence, you manufacture it. Coming up next, we'll show you just how far this system goes and introduce you to a former Mexican hitman who reveals how the prison guards and cartels work together to keep the blood flowing. You'll also learn how some inmates get away with murder behind bars, how one prison riot ended with cartel members playing basketball with a decapitated head, and what it really means to be protected by the
I couldn't imagine being a guard seeing that coming out just, oh yeah, he just shoot a three. I'm like, okay, he can shoot the whole time. It come down and swish. Number net, bow to the ground, a human head. Like, damn, nigga, what? Like, I quit. I ain't got the stomach for it. I'll straight quit.
Mexican government. But most terrifying of all, we'll ask the question Mexico doesn't want to answer. What happens when the cartels are locked up, and still more powerful than the government? Cartel bosses still run the show, even from solitary confinement. If you thought La Mesa was brutal, you haven't heard what happens when the prison walls aren't strong enough to contain the cartels. Because sometimes the prison doesn't control the criminal controls the prison. And if you're one of the guards standing in their way, well, then you'd better hope your family doesn't answer unknown numbers. In this section, we're diving deeper into the unseen war happening inside Mexico's most extreme prison. Not just between inmates and the state, but between cartels fighting for territory inside the very cells they're locked in. Let's rewind to a first-hand account from a former hitman hitman. This man, raised between the US and Mexico, became a sicario for both the Sinaloa cartel and La Familia Michoacana. He knew cartel warfare like most of us know traffic patterns, and his insight into the prison system, terrifying.
It's basically the same law that Pablo Escobar told the government. Now it's plata o plomo, you know? It's money or lead, whichever one you want.
According to
That was a bar. Money or lead. I like that. I liked it. I ain't gonna lie.
To him, every prison in Mexico is run by a cartel. The guards, just props in a power play. You cooperate, you live, you resist, you disappear. And if you're a correctional officer who tries to do the right thing, you end up as a warning to others. I've known a lot of inmates in Mexico that have been felons in the US. They tell me, over there, it's a 5-star hotel compared to where we're at now. Inside La Mesa, alliances are carved out of fear, and rivalries, they don't just simmer, they explode, like the now infamous riot described by that same hitman. 14 killed, 1 beheaded. His head used as a basketball. Guards stood outside the maximum security wing and did nothing. Why? Because the cartels told.
Well, if they told me not to, I ain't see nothing. I ain't see a damn thing. I wouldn't say nothing. I wouldn't complain. I just go about my day. I'm sorry. And you know, it's their job. I get that part. But end of the day, my family at risk. And ain't no amount of money I'm getting paid for me to sit here and be like, hey, stop doing. And the cartel get on my ass. Ain't no amount of money I'm getting paid.
Them not to enter.
And the riot popped off right 2 weeks when I was in there. There was 14 people killed. The main boss was decapitated. And they were playing basketball with his head.
Let that sink in. In La Mesa, there are 2 justice systems, one written in law books, the other written in blood. That's why the Mexican government is so desperate to maintain order. Director Acevedo knows this. He's the architect of the new La Mesa, a system so tight that the most dangerous cartel members don't even see each other, let alone the guards. In Section 6, inmates from opposing gangs are deliberately scheduled at different yard times, and even then, it's only for 2 hours a week, at most. If someone breaks the rules, they vanish into solitary confinement. But don't confuse solitary with safe. One former inmate described these cells as coffins with mold. You sweat, you suffocate, and you don't know when you're getting out. Water trickles from rusted pipes. Food is minimal. Sometimes guards forget you exist.
All you can do is sit or stand up for a short amount of time. We're in total isolation, without any air supply. Apart from...
But see, they tough though because they tough because me personally, I would have been just either hung myself, I would have snapped one or the other. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I don't know. I'll crash out.
From one small fan. They just leave us to rot away in here and shut the doors.
And still, despite all of that, the cartels manage to thrive. How? Through fear, through bribery, and through a network more efficient than the government itself. The former hitman admitted to interrogating other inmates with the permission of guards. He had access to phones, weapons, and classified information, all thanks to cartel influence. And what was his job in prison? Simple. Find out who's loyal and who's not. We would go in with the permission of the correctional officers, pull out smartphones, start interrogating inside of the prison. He described...
Okay, I was finna say how they getting smartphones in here, but I forgot. Like I said, half the prison. Well, they said, and I've been said, I feel like the cartel. I know the cartel has their hands in a lot of shit, but like the cartel's running this. But damn, like I wouldn't take none of their shit. I'm gonna let them have. I'm gonna be the guard that I'm letting them have it. I don't see nothing. I'm blind. Like you want to fire me or something? I'm not going. I ain't touching this with a 10-foot pole. They do too much. They go too far. What do you want me to do? They just played basketball with a man's head. I'm going to tell my boss, what do you want me to do? My family's life is at stake. I ain't see a thing, so, hey.
Prisons where guards prostituted female inmates to make extra money. Where
inmates
interrogated other inmates, and where the defending cartel members were working for rival gangs, making sure their clients never got out. La Mesa, for all its structure and steel, is still vulnerable to corruption. Even the inmates know it. That's why someone like Taylor Elliott Howard, a US Marine who found himself behind bars, feels completely abandoned. He doesn't speak Spanish. The guards don't speak English. There's no translator, and no one cares. In his words,
they don't try to have any interpreters or anything like that, so as far as us, we're in trouble. There's no help out there, really.
And that brings us to one of the most sinister elements of Mexico's new prison strategy: intentional psychological degradation. When you remove language, you remove power. When you remove sunlight, you remove time. And when you remove human contact, you remove identity. It's not about punishment anymore. It's about making you disappear before you're even dead. And that's exactly what happened in La Mesa before its 2002 reform. Back then, the prison was an open-air bazaar for cartel bosses who lived in luxury while poor inmates starved. There were fast food restaurants, bars, and even brothels run by inmates, guarded by nobody. We used to have computers, we had restaurants, we all had good money. Then
How is they having a restaurant in here though? Like, look at this establishment. Look at the way it's built. How is it even possible?
the riots came, and the dead started piling up. So
Oh.
down. But instead of fixing the system,
I
they built
see.
a cage so tight it crushes everyone inside it, criminal or not, and it gets worse. Medical neglect is rampant. Taylor revealed that 9 people on his tier died from untreated illness. Not the whole prison, just his block.
There's been 9 people on this tier who have just died from being sick and stuff like that. That's not including the whole jail, just the people on this tier, on this floor right here.
Water is rationed. Hygiene products must be bought with money from outside. And guess what? If your family doesn't visit, you get nothing. You don't even get a toothbrush. One inmate put it bluntly: "Let the dogs eat me."
Damn, you can't wipe yourself, can't brush your teeth, can't take a shower with actual good smells. Damn, okay. Like, that's y'all knows y'all want to fuck it up, but at least let them do all that at least. You know, I can understand the other privileges, but that's just inhumane. A nigga can't wash his ass, bro. A nigga can't wash his ass. Do you know how funky you are when you can't wash your ass? That's sick.
That's the life I chose. But here's the twist. That same former cartel hitman, after spending years living like a ghost, walked away. He dropped his gun, abandoned his cartel-protected status, and escaped the only life he'd ever known. Why? Because he realized that even the top men, the killers, the traffickers, the untouchables, were disposable. He was beaten, tortured, betrayed. The cartels he bled for, they left him behind. So he started over, became a boxing coach, began working with at-risk youth in Mexico, teaching them to fight, but not the way he used to. Nowadays, I'm a boxing instructor, trying to give them the best advice to avoid what one has—
Wait. I thought he was still in the whole thing. Gang, they let him just walk free? I thought when you leave the cartel, they just, oh yeah, wow, that was it. Like, what? He just ran away scot-free. Nothing bad happened or nothing. They don't make no sense. But hey, at least I'm glad he getting a better life and changing everything up and like helping the youth out, because like I said, I don't got no beef with the cartel. Mr. Cartel, people had no beef with y'all. How could I get that burp out? Thank God. But I will say, I'm not tough enough. I'm not gangster enough to roll with the cartel.
been through, because deep down he knows what's waiting behind those prison walls. Not redemption, not forgiveness, just the slow, invisible death of everything human. And yet, Mexico continues to build prisons like La Mesa, prisons where everything is monitored, but nothing is healed, where the problem isn't just who they're locking up, it's who they're letting rot. And here's the most haunting part. These are the ones who got caught. Next, we'll follow the trail outside the prison walls to the neighborhoods of Tijuana, where cartels still operate with near impunity. We'll show you how La Mesa is just one spoke in a much larger wheel, how children are recruited as lookouts, and how drug empires continue to thrive despite the government's crackdown. But most importantly, we'll explore what the Mexican government doesn't want to admit, that these prisons might not be a solution. They might be a symptom. The war isn't in the prison, it's in the streets that feed it. So far, we've shown you how Mexico's most extreme prison, La Mesa, went from cartel-run chaos to state-sanctioned isolation. We've exposed how cartel leaders still wield influence even from behind reinforced walls. And we've shown you what happens to those who slip through the cracks, forgotten, voiceless, erased. But here's what the government won't tell you. La Mesa isn't the solution, it's the fallout. The real battlefield is outside the prison walls, in the streets of Tijuana, where kids carry lookouts' radios instead of toys, where armored SUVs don't belong to police but to cartel lieutenants, and where murder is just another line.
That's what I'm saying. That's scary to me, bro. That's why I don't want to go to Mexico now. Everybody got them big boys and all them crazy exotic things, bro. That's not something I don't want to partake in. Like, I'm terrified. I am so scared of the cartel. It's crazy.
Item in the local economy. And the scariest part? The violence inside the prison is just a mirror. As La Mesa's own director says,
what goes on outside the prison is exactly the same as what goes on inside the prison. It's just a mirror for the city.
So how did we get here? How did Tijuana, once a border town known for tequila and tourism, become a murder capital? And how did La Mesa become its graveyard? To understand that, we need to go beyond the cells and into the pipeline of violence that begins long before arrest. It starts in the neighborhoods. Children, some as young as 9, are recruited as scouts or runners. Their job?
At 9? They got 9-year-olds walking around with AK-47s like that, just pushing scout backs.
Report police movement, carry messages, sometimes carry weapons.
I thought about it. Who winning? United States YNs, UK YNs, or the cartel YNs? My money on the cartel YNs, but y'all let me know in the comment section.
If they're caught, they disappear. If they're not, they're promoted. A 12-year-old can become a cartel enforcer faster than a high school student can become a nurse. Why? Because the system is built that way. You can say in a way it is, because obviously a lot of the people that I met in the cartels didn't even finish their primary school. Education isn't just underfunded, it's outgunned. And if you think this only happens in rural areas, think again. Tijuana is the most crossed-border city in the world, and that means it's also one of the most contested pieces of drug smuggling real estate on the planet. Weapons flow in from the US, drugs flow out, and in between, bodies. Some of them cartel, some of them innocent. One former hitman described a horrific scene. 15 people abducted, men and women taken to a ranch and dismembered with axes and chainsaws. Not all were targets. Some were just in the wrong place. Why? To send a message.
And they went at it.
You see what I mean? To send a message. Why can't you just kill them? Like, quick, right then and there. Why do they have to go above and beyond? Above and beyond, gang. Above and beyond. That is insane. Just to make an example. Like, gang.
With axes and chainsaws. They dismembered everywhere.
And messages like that work. They terrify communities into submission. They convince parents to send their children away if they can afford to. They silence police chiefs, corrupt politicians, and collapse civic institutions. And when these killers are finally caught, they're sent to La Mesa, not to be reformed, but to rot. Yet many of them continue to run operations from inside. They issue hits, manage drug routes, even extort guards. Not because the system is weak, but because the system has already bent to their will. As one former inmate said, for every prison, there is a cartel behind it, and so the circle continues. Outside, fear replaces law. Inside, isolation replaces hope. And somewhere in between, Mexico's war on drugs morphs into a war on its own people. Even the inmates know it. Take Dolores, who served more than 20 years behind bars. Once a woman of power.
I was going to say something while hesitant. Dolores. That's a very interesting name for a guy. I've never heard that. Like, I didn't think that was a unisex name, but that's crazy.
Or in the inmate-run village of Old La Mesa. She now acts as a nurse, and yet, when asked whether she prefers the new prison or the old one, she can't decide.
Even now, Dolores isn't sure which of these two worlds is better and which one is tougher.
Because one gave her danger.
Oh, Dolores was a woman. I'm so sorry.
Neither gave her dignity. Meanwhile, American inmates like Taylor Elliott Howard, who once served in Iraq, find themselves stripped of every ounce of identity. Once a Marine, now a forgotten foreigner.
They getting hold too though. I ain't gonna lie. That's some shit to where I'ma really fight that case as hard as I possibly can. I'ma learn like the language as fast as I can, just so I can beat that, because it like he said, they forgotten about. There ain't nothing he can do.
Can't even buy toilet paper without outside money. He makes jewelry to trade for soap.
I sell for hygiene stuff. Toothpaste, toothbrush, soap, stuff like that, toilet paper. Because they don't supply none of that here.
The government says it's about control, but at what cost? Because when you push a man to the edge, remove his food, his water, his voice, he doesn't just break, he changes. And when thousands of those men are released back into society, hardened, bitter, traumatized, what exactly are we unleashing? We asked a former cartel soldier if he felt regret. His answer was that he felt it only for the people he loved, not for the people he killed. That's not rehabilitation, that's indoctrination. And Mexico's most extreme prisons, they don't just contain monsters, they manufacture them, all in the name of order. The truth is, the violence inside La Mesa didn't start there. It was imported from broken homes, failed schools, abandoned communities, and years of silence. Because long before someone ends up in a prison cell, they've already been through a far more punishing system, poverty. And in Mexico, poverty isn't just a struggle, it's a...
I mean, this basically poverty, really. And what they do in his hands, they finna see this right here. This is right here why I feel like nobody should really beef with the cartel. I'm not gonna lie.
trap that criminals know how to exploit better than the state does. Cartels offer what the government never could: money, respect, and power. One former cartel soldier told us, "Most of the people I met in the game didn't even finish primary school." That wasn't a coincidence. It was design. When education fails, when jobs vanish, and when violence is normalized from childhood, the cartel becomes the only ladder out. The type of music that they hear, what they see on TV, that's what they feel inspired to be like, when in reality they have no idea what that life is all about. So how do we fix it? La Mesa was supposed to be the answer, but instead of breaking the cycle, it became the next link in the chain. The prison's design ensures inmates are cut off from everything: family, language, support, even basic hygiene. In some cells, water flows just a few hours a day. In others, inmates sleep 5 to a bed, some even on top of toilets. And the guards? They're not always the good guys. As former inmates revealed, many guards are trapped themselves, caught between doing their job or protecting their families. One described it like...
See what I'm saying? I choose to protect my family. Fuck this job, F this job, F this job, F this job. I don't care about none of that. Family come first, I'm not gonna lie.
Standing between the sword and the wall, you obey the cartel or you disappear.
So they try to just keep it chill, you know, in the way that they know who not to mess with and who they can obviously put their hands on.
So what happens when an inmate resists the system? What if, like the ex-hitman we met, someone decides to break free from that life? You'd think redemption follows. It doesn't. Even after escaping cartel life, he was nearly killed. He ended up in maximum security, where a riot broke out just 2 weeks into his sentence. 14 people were murdered. The prison boss, decapitated. The inmates used his head like a toy, and no...
I will say this, all the time they got, I'm in there getting Aki and swole. I ain't gonna hold it to you. Yeah, they got weapons, but I'm getting their Aki and swole. As much space as I got, I'm diamond push-ups every single day. Every day, I'm cranking them.
No one stopped them. Why? Because no one dared.
And the riot popped off right 2 weeks when I was in there. There was 14 people killed. The main boss was decapitated, and they were playing basketball with his head.
That is the level of chaos these prisons are operating under. Not rehabilitation, not order, but containment, barely. And for those who do get out, what kind of freedom are they returning to? Take inmate Francisco, a convicted cartel killer. He served 7 years at La Mesa. He hasn't heard from his family. He thinks his kids have turned to crime, and the only thing he has left, a photograph.
I'm always thinking about my kids, my sons. I look at this photo every morning.
Meanwhile, Abraham, the 22-year-old drug mule who still clings to hope, is desperate for a prison transfer. Why? Because in La Mesa, hope is contraband. He gets no sunlight. He sweats through 100 degrees of heat. He hasn't hugged his sister in 3 years, and his only...
Man. It make me sad, though. I'll say that. It does make me sad seeing this a little bit. I won't even lie.
crime, being young, poor, and expendable. Taylor, the U.S. Marine, says it best.
Just going with it, you know? Not trying to think about it too much. You don't want to stress on the situation.
Because in a system like this, thinking too much gets you killed, which begs the question, if prisons like La Mesa are producing more trauma than they prevent, why does Mexico keep building them? Because prisons serve a second purpose, optics. To the public, places like La Mesa send a message, we are in control. To the cartels, they're a speed bump. And to the inmates, they are reminders that you are not a man, you are a problem, and problems don't get solved, they get locked up. But here's the twist, nobody expects. Some inmates, after years in this concrete purgatory, say they don't want freedom. Why? Because the outside world is worse. It's chaotic, unpredictable, and filled with...
The outside world worse than this? A couple of them just sat there and said, oh, yeah, had wives, family, money, extra women and all. Like, nigga, here you can't even wipe your own ass. You can't drink water. You're jam-packed full of niggas all day long. This is really a sausage fest. So what do you mean the outside is worse? Yeah, I'll probably be a little poor, but I'd rather be poor outside and hungry than to be inside with these niggas smelling funk must feet, hungry, doodle in between my cheeks. I can't wipe nothing. I'm thirsty as hell. I'm sleeping on the floor next to a nigga with some funky feet. I take outside any day, nigga.
Memories they'd rather not face. In prison, they know the routine, they know the enemy, and they know the price. As Dolores, serving 34 years, says when she gets out, she'll have to learn a new world, new people, new technology, and no guarantees. When I get out of here, I need to start with coming to grips with the new technology, and people have changed too. She's not alone. Others, like the former cartel gunman...
That's nothing about prison too, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, getting out and having to deal with the world changing, because time stops as soon as you step foot in there. So I couldn't even imagine, like, I come out, 9 niggas is on flying bikes. Like, nigga, damn, what the fuck happened?
speak of post-traumatic stress disorder, insomnia, and emotional numbness. They don't know how to re-enter society because the prison changed them. No, the system changed them.
They tell me that I'm very cold. So it's something that you can't just let go out of the blue.
So what now? We've shown you a prison so extreme that sunlight is a privilege. We've shown you a city so fractured that children grow up choosing gangs over graduation. We've shown you how the most dangerous cartel leaders still run operations from behind bars, and how the state, despite its best efforts, can't keep up.
So wait, this just So I wouldn't say it's the most dangerous because they still got their hands in it. So it's like I don't really know. I don't know. Let me know how y'all feel in the comment section below. But don't forget to like up, hit I cannot talk. Like I said, we still getting good with these outros. Don't forget to like, comment up, hit the little bell for more videos. We posting videos consistently, being more consistent in this bit. I ain't gonna lie. But join the Discord, link in the description below, and follow the TikTok. You can be live right now with everybody going crazy. Tell a friend, tell an aunt, tell a cousin, tell a brother. Share the video everywhere. And I think I touched all the bases. With that being said, we done.